When I was young, probably 7 or 8 years old, my older sister, who's 6 years older than me, was playing the violin. And I was very interested. She really got me excited about playing the violin. But my parents didn't quite think that I'd be right for the violin. I was very much a tomboy, always climbing trees, playing baseball. So they thought it was just a phase I was going through. It took 2 years of begging, and finally they got me that first violin, and I just remember that day. Today, I still remember coming home with my first violin, stopping at my grandmother's house to show her and how excited I was. And then it's just taken off from there. It was a very exciting time in my life. Unfortunately, the first thing to go quite often when there are budget cuts in school, it's the music program. And our music program was cut by the string program. I'm from Woonsocket, Rhode Island, and that was the first thing to go. So there goes my hopes of playing violin in the schools. But I did decide to continue. I think I was the only one to continue from the string program that had begun in Woonsocket. And I played violin in the middle school band. But as time progressed, my family realized that we needed more of a challenge and more experience, so we got involved with the Rhode Island Philharmonic Youth Orchestra. And that's where I met Ann Danis, who eventually turned into my private teacher, and she was a huge inspiration in my musical upbringing. And then I moved on from there into the senior orchestra under the direction of the legendary Nato Pandolfi, the Rhode Island Philharmonic Youth Orchestra, the senior division. He was just a phenomenal musician and a phenomenal educator. I have such a high respect for everything he did for young musicians. Those experiences in high school, to me, it's that age that you're hooked. If you have great experiences and a quality education, and I certainly did, that really got me excited about pursuing music. I also had the wonderful opportunity to perform in the All-State and All-Eastern and National. And when you go through experiences like that, you know that this is what you want to do. It's what you have to do. And Ann Danis and Nato Pandolfi, I credit the two of them for really inspiring me to pursue music. Ms. Danis recommended that even though I wanted to teach music, she recommended I go into performance for a bachelor's degree, because her philosophy, and I highly respect this, is that you have to be the greatest performer you can be on your instrument in order to be a great teacher. So she recommended to pursue performance, and I did that. I went to the Boston Conservatory and got my bachelor's in violin performance. And then after that, proceeded on to the University of New Hampshire and received my master's degree in music education. I've been in Franklin for 19 years, finishing up my 19th year now. It's such a great community to work in. Back in the day, once again, when there were cuts, Franklin had difficult decisions to make, and our elementary beginner program was cut. At that time, we created an after-school program for beginners to compensate for that, so that the students don't lose out due to difficult decisions. So it began the String School of Franklin as a beginner program, and then over the years it sort of developed, and we started with the second-year students, and then we developed a middle school orchestra, and then the repertory is an audition-based group, and we play pretty advanced high school level and beyond music. And as a matter of fact, we had a very good weekend. Last weekend, we performed for the MICA Festival, which is a state evaluation festival, and received a gold medal. Actually, the middle school received a gold medal as well, so it was a very good weekend, which awards us an invitation to perform at Symphony Hall in Boston or the Mechanics Hall in Worcester. So it's a very strong music program, and which brings me actually to Claflin Hill. The connection between my students and Claflin Hill is becoming, first of all, greater, it seems, each year. I have more and more students becoming involved in his youth orchestra. And the excitement that Paul creates with these young musicians is just incredible, and it's such a benefit to the community and to these young musicians. You know, we've all talked, everybody that we've had here who's a member of Claflin Hill, we've talked about what a blessing Paul is and Claflin Hill is to adults, and that is so true. As a musician, we have this fantastic orchestra right down the street, and wonderful musicians that are attracted to it from the Boston area, from the Rhode Island area, from top-notch musicians, and it's not only a professional gig, as they would say, it's more than that, and I don't think you'd understand it unless you're part of it, but it is very much like a family. We're all very close, and it's a wonderful organization, and I've been in it almost since the beginning. His first year, I believe I was expecting my first child, so I couldn't play that first year, but I was in from that second year. I knew Paul from many years before the conception of Claflin. But then he created this youth orchestra, and I thought it was brilliant. He's a fantastic musician, he's a fantastic businessman, and he's a fantastic educator. And the three right there is a trifecta. You can't get better than that. And he really pulls the students from the surrounding communities, and he offers them more than, we offer a lot in the schools, don't get me wrong, but he offers them something that you can't quite get in schools. They're interacting with students from other communities. They're interacting with professional musicians from the orchestra. So my colleagues from the orchestra are coming in and working either one-on-one or coaching or doing sectionals with these musicians, student musicians. On top of that, once a year, the youth orchestra gets to perform with Claflin Hill Symphony. And I thought that was such a cool thing. If I were a kid, oh my gosh, I would have eaten that up. They come in and each adult sits with one of the students, and we play side by side and perform for their parents. And what an experience for kids to play in a professional orchestra at such a young age. And not many orchestras outside of Claflin Hill offer that. And then beyond that, when students become even more advanced, preparing to go to college perhaps and majoring in music, Paul will invite them to be interns into the symphony orchestra. So they'll sit in the back of the sections, and they do well, and it's an experience for them. Then they go off to college, and many of them come back and become full-time members. So it's all cyclical, and it's so neat to see. And now I'm getting old enough where I've seen that cycle happen now, and it's very exciting when you see students come back and perform. I'm continuing to play, continuing to improve my performance, which I believe is making me a better teacher. If I just put that away, I don't have that excitement and forward motion to bring to my students. So I thank Paul for that very much.
Hey everybody, this is Tim Coet. Make sure you check out full episodes of The Milford Informer on Milford TV. New episodes air every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. and then re-air frequently over the course of the weekend. Milford TV can be found on Comcast Channel 8 and Verizon Channel 38. And if you live in the Milford area and have an idea for a news story, you can contact us at news@milfordtv.net.